Hey, my creative friends. I'm Shannon from Shannon Studio. And you wouldn't believe, like 5 minutes ago, our power went out. And I thought it was just ours, but no, it's all over our little, I'm looking out the window, our little cottage area. And for the foreseeable distance, I can see that the power's out. I've never had a power outage in Sweden, so I don't know, what happens. I mean, at home, the power would go out and it would just like be off for a few seconds and then pop back on. It was very unusual for it to have it go off for extended periods of time. Usually it was only during work. Even during the worst of storms, it never really was too bad. I mean, we would have it. So I don't know how it works here. So we're gonna see, but we still go on. We get a little creative. Like Trisha says, hey, it does look like night with no power, with no power out, with now power out. It is. It does look dark. It does look dark. You should pitch black. Today, actually, dusk seemed like it started at 2 o'clock. It was kind of weird today. But let's see. I took a long nap today and it was wonderful. So, which helped because I put so much extra time into doing those desserts I talked about yesterday. Okay, so I put up my little light and I have battery on my phone and I have external batteries. So we're gonna still do it today. I mean, I don't want to miss just because there's a power outage. So today I had some thoughts about what I wanted to do, which I'll still do another Sunday. But on Sundays, I try to tie spirituality to creativity. And so usually I take some time in the day to go over my thoughts, maybe research a little bit. So I was going to start to research, and Joseph wanted to play Legos, and I told him I would play with him. And so it was like I'm playing Legos. We're building ships. So we're playing Legos and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So Alan went searching for, topics and was reading me a few things. So I had him send me the links that he found. And so I started reading through one of them and it was so interesting. I only got like a paragraph in and I'm like, wait a minute. So this one gal says, Margaret Paul says, the imagination is the doorway into the divine. And I was like, I don't quite agree with that. I agree with it to some extent, but I didn't quite. And so it made me stop and think. And so I was thinking about it and I was writing down, why don't I fully agree with it? So I thought, well, I will share that thought instead of the one I had maybe previously was going to do. So first off, let's just talk about what imagination is, kind of define it so that we are like on the same page talking about it. So it's imagining, I just took it from the dictionary, imagining or forming mental images or concepts of what is not actually present to the senses. So what's not actually present to us in our reality, in our realm, in our world. So with that as our basis, so she's saying and if she's using imagination the same way we are, she's saying you enter into that place of creating images and forming mental pictures, not from what you see here. And I would say that that's probably a fair assessment to what she's saying. So for me, I think imagination comes in degrees. Just like a lot of things, it depends on how much you go in depth to it. So, for instance, we practice imagination with kids all the time. It's like we tell them, or we might tell adults even, okay, I want you to imagine what a woman and a fish might look like. And so therefore you come up with a mermaid. And that's pretty superficial, I think. I think that's, we practice that all the time. What would you get? Two thoughts put together, and what do you get? And I think that's, one level of imagination that doesn't really delve into a doorway at all, going somewhere else. I think it's just a functionary type of imagination. And so I kind of feel like with her thought that I do think the imagination does open a doorway to the divine, but I also think it also is a doorway to the infinite. So not just the divine, but anything else that exists on that side of things, outside of our, our senses of what this world is. So I kind of think that imagination opens that up more than what she's saying. It opens to the divine or to the debased. It opens up to infinite things. And when you open up to infinite, there's no time, no space, no limits, no bounds. It just kind of opens to anything and everything. And if you're religious like me, you believe there's a God. You also believe there's a devil. You all believe that there's good and that there's evil. And so for me, the idea of this, I see car lights, this portal opening up, I feel like it opens up wide, that we don't control, and it's kind of arrogant to think we do control what goes on outside of our senses. And I know this is kind of like, a little bit maybe deeper, maybe different. But since I read the comment, it was like, this is what I'm thinking about. So guess what I get to share? And you get to give me your thoughts on it. So just like we're affected here by our experiences, by people we know, by how we feel, I think we can have those same experiences when we go into the realm of imagination. And to me, I also look at imagination as an invitation, an open invitation, that you're inviting whatever's on that other side of our experience here. And I also think, just like an invitation, you can decide who it goes to. You don't have to just like have an open invitation where you say, oh, anybody, come as you are, free for all. I'm going to house you all. I don't think that either. I think we can be very deliberate about the sources that we seek out through our imagination for inspiration. Just speaking creatively, is that we can put the invitation to who we want. We just don't have to be flooded with every thought, everything that's opened up to us. We get to choose. And let's see. And as an example, if you do any kind of basic search on art, you will find all kinds of images, and images that are not part of this world. And some of them are really cool, really exciting, really amazing, and some of it is really dark and troubled, and that kind of thing. And some people say our imagination is only things that we have in our own head and nothing more than that. Maybe I believe that, maybe I don't. First off, it's like, I believe we existed before. So what did we experience before that might be in our heads? I don't know. See, to me, it's just a lot of questions, but I do feel like the imagination opens up to divine, to the base, to everything in between. And it's our charge to decide what things we invite into our imagination. Let's see. One of the scriptures I read from Romans 1:21 says, because that when they know God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. So to me, it's almost like, if you're not using God, you're relying on yourself. And I personally feel like the best inspiration comes from God. The most uplifting, the most enlightening comes from God. And I do believe things can come from other places too. So that's the tip tonight is if you're going to dive deep into your imagination, dive deep into inviting what kind of imagination you want to invite. And to think about that, we can be aided by prayer. We can be aided by meditation, pondering. People are often meditating, enhanced by artificial means like drugs or alcohol or those kinds of things. And I think that those take away our control, but people use it often to seek out other means of inspiration and imagination and otherworldly experiences. So kind of really deep and different for our Sunday. Maybe a little dark for some people. I don't know. I just was excited at the fact that Tricia says this discussion in the dark is interesting. It is interesting. It's really something that most of us are not really going to seek out. But Tricia says seek for the light. I agree totally. I agree. We have so much control over our lives and our experiences, and we can seek out the light in any experience. And we can seek out God, who imagined a whole world, he created this whole world, imagined all of this, and then gave it to us in this world for its use. I mean, that is amazing about the creation and imagination of God. And so, but I would feel like it's a little remiss to not mention that there is a dark side. Just like, there's good and evil, there is a dark side to certain creativity. And so you have to be aware. And so that's the tip, to be aware of that, to realize that when you go into imagination, if you're going to go deep, it's going to be a portal to the divine and to base things as well. And so I am super excited when I see uplifting art that uses the divine and that has gone deep like that, to really understand God, to understand his ways, to understand the messages that he puts forth. And there's some beautiful artwork. Because I follow a lot of artists in my social media things, and some of the artwork there, I'm just going, that is so beautiful. That is so exciting. And churches use art all the time. But I'll discuss that another day. So, imagination, use yours. Decide how you're going to use yours, and use it for good and godlike things. And that's my opinion, my suggestion. And wish me well with doing things in the dark. So far, our power's not come back. And yes, remember, you have a creative heartbeat. Listen for it. And I will be back tomorrow. Bye.